Hi there, my name is Callum Thompson. I'm an academic developer for learning technologies here at the University of Salford, and in this short video I'm going to introduce an online tool called Padlet. So over the next few slides I'm going to cover some of the tools and features that are available within Padlet, and then I'm going to do a quick on-screen demo of how to set up a basic Padlet wall, show you some of the options and the ways to post to the wall, and then I'll discuss a couple of ways that we might use this in teaching and learning. So probably about 10-12 minutes, just a very basic introduction, which should give you enough that you can get up and running with Padlet and have a bit of a go. But if you have any problems or if you have any questions further than what's contained within this video, don't hesitate to get in touch with myself or one of the other members of the academic development team or a member of the digital skills team for a bit of further support. But back to Padlet. So what is Padlet? Padlet is an online notice board tool. Okay, so if anyone has ever done any task in a classroom which involved post-it notes and writing ideas down on post-it notes and sticking them down on a piece of paper on a wall, it's a similar concept to that. So we can post bits of text, bits of video, a couple of other things which I'll cover in a second, onto this one wall. Now, it's online, it's browser based, so it runs through your internet browser, whether that is Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, or the Apple Safari browser. It runs through this common environment, so there's not a mobile app for it, and there's not a downloadable bit of software for it. It just runs within a web browser. Now that does mean that students can access it on smart devices such as smartphones, tablets, tools like that, or on the laptop or a desktop computer as well. Anything that's got a web browser that you can access, if you can look up Google in it, then you can access Padlet. Now, the online notice boards that can be created, they can be created by an individual, so you could create one on your own to present a selection of information, or people can collaborate on them, and there's a more or less an infinite number of people that can get together and collaborate on a Padlet wall as a group, or bring together ideas and information. Now these can be run privately, so you can run a private wall and not share that with anyone, or you and a group can come together and work privately on a wall, or you can make it public and share information there as well, and there's a couple of different options we have for that. The great thing about Padlet, and this is always something I look for in online tools, is it's completely free. Okay, so you don't need any subscription to use the Padlet tool. There are some paid premium versions. One's called Backpack and one is called Briefcase, and these have tools which are focused more on schools use or business use, and most of the features in them are based around security. So it's not something that we particularly need to use if we just want a basic tool to use in the classroom. So as I alluded to briefly earlier, users can post onto a Padlet wall. They can post text, they can post images which are hosted online, so they can post a link to an image and it will display the image. They can also take images and video with their webcam, which is built into their laptop or their phone, so they can record a piece of video or post an image which is taken directly from that webcam and it will display within the Padlet wall. They can post links, and links could be to web pages or to news articles online, but they can also post things like links to Google Maps. So if you wanted to post the location of someone, if you wanted to get a group of people together and all to share the location on a Padlet wall, they could do that, and it displays the map within there as well. And they can also upload files there as well. So if you want people to perhaps make some notes in a Word document, if you've got a group of students who are all going to be making notes, you want to share them all in one place at the end, so you can perhaps bring them up in the projector, they can all put their notes into a Padlet wall, and you can pull them up in quite a visual multimedia space on there. Now, Padlet doesn't require any kind of sign up for a basic use, so if you just want to get the tool up and running and you want people to be able to post to it, you can click create a wall and it will create a wall. There's no need to sign in even. It will give you a wall which has a unique web address, so URL, and that will have a little code at the end of it which you can share with people and they can come in and collaborate there. There is an option to set up an account though, and if you're going to use this in certain situations, it's useful to set up an account because it means you can create a profile which will attach your name to things you post to Padlet walls. It also means that you can define a custom URL. So as I said just now, each wall has a web address, so it's a bit like an interactive website. Without setting up an account, it gives you a random code, but if you set up an account, you can change that. So I might call my wall padlet.com/Callum's wall. And also you can invite people to private walls. To invite people to partake in a private wall, you need to be able to invite them via their email address, and to do that you need to set up an account as well. Okay, but that's a couple of points which I'll cover perhaps in the on-screen demonstration, which I'll move to just now. So, where to get to Padlet is www.padlet.com. If I come out of my presentation just now and just bring up my web browser, so I'm using Google Chrome in this video, but it works exactly the same across various browsers, and I'm just going to go to padlet.com. And that gets me to the basic Padlet website. As you can see, there's a couple of different options here. I can sign up, very basic sign up details, things like, enter your username, email address and a password. I can log in here. There's also a bit more information about the backpack and briefcase versions that I mentioned. For the sake of speed in this video though, I'm just going to create a basic wall. Okay, so I'm not signing in or anything, I'm just going to create something. So I click the button that says create something, and it creates my Padlet wall. And what I now have is a basic blank Padlet wall created. Now it has my padlet.com address up here, so that's a unique URL which I can share with people. So if I want to collaborate with people on this wall, which I'll cover in a bit more detail in a second, I can just send them this URL. You might send it as a tweet or to Facebook or in an email. If I want to post something to Padlet, then I just double click on the wall and it brings up this box. So here I can give a title to my post, so maybe the heading that I would put on my sticky post-it note in a more traditional environment. I'm just going to put Callum's post, and then I can add a note here, so I might put my first post. And if I just click out of there, then that post is now live within there. Okay, so that's on the wall. Now, if I was sharing this wall with someone else, it would appear automatically on their wall as well. So to demonstrate that, I'm just going to open up a new window in Google, and I'm going to put these on either side of my screen. Now, if you can imagine that everything on the left-hand side is on my computer, but then let's say that the browser on the right-hand side is on a colleague's computer, a student's computer, on another device somewhere. If I copy this, and let's imagine I'm emailing this just now, my colleague then pastes that into their browser, and when the wall opens up, they can now see that I've posted to there. Now if I post on the wall again, so I'll maybe put second post, and click out of there, it automatically appears on the wall on my colleague's computer as well. Likewise, my colleague could go in, and within this environment they can see when that was posted, but if they click on the edit button, they can put edits into there, and that will appear within this post as well. Now this is within the open version where I haven't logged in or anything. You can start to make things a bit more tight so that people can't get in and edit everyone else's posts within there. Once you log in, you start to manage privacy and security settings, but for the time being it really is just a free-for-all where people can go in, and I might put my third post, and I could share a link here. So as I was saying, if I wanted to perhaps go onto Google Maps and I wanted to tell everyone that I am currently located in Salford, so I perhaps look up Salford on Google Maps, and if I grab this link and paste the link into my post, I did that just by clicking on the little chain link option, which is for URL link, and click add. Then that now makes the map appear from Google Maps. You can see that quite quickly we can create quite a rich environment of various bits and pieces from the web, maps, images. You would share a link in the same way as well. We would just share the option for the link. And if I make this maybe my fourth post, I'll tell you what, I'm going to close this other window. We've got the idea now where it will appear on the other screen. If I close this and make this full screen again, then you can see that I have the option to drag and drop a folder or file into there. So if I had a file on my desktop, Let's see if I've got one just now which is available. So yeah, I've got my new text document here. If I wanted to share that, I could just drag that up and drop it into there, and that will upload the file for me. So now there's an attachment there which people can get in and they can open. And this is the webcam option as well. So if I click on this, I can't do this just now because I've got my webcam working in another piece of software. But if I was to click on this, it would ask for access to my webcam, and then I'd be able to take a photo and a video from there as well. Now, if I want to edit any of these, I just click on the green pen, and if I want to delete them, I can just click on that delete, ask me if I want to remove it, and I can remove. Now, in a nutshell, that is how we can share things on Padlet. That's how we post bits to our Padlet page. If I was to leave this page just now, I could still access this. It would still exist online behind this web address. So it's not a case of when I close this, the tool shuts down and disappears. I'm not very sure of the lifespan of them, to be honest. It's something I need to find out. But definitely, if I copy this, close this, and then open it again, just by going back to this web address, the page is still there. Okay, so I can still access all that information which is in there. Now we have a few options down the right hand side here. I can go back to the home page. I can create a new wall, which will just create a new blank wall with a new URL against it. I can log in. There's also share options here as well, which I'm going to come back to in just a second, and it's how we can start to share that out to people. There's some information and help buttons there, but the usual one that we want to get to is this modify the wall cog, the option button here. So you can see that I can give it a title, I can change the background or image that people are going to go in and associate with that, so I can give it a theme if you like. Here I can change my background wallpaper, little bits and pieces we can mess around with. I can also change the layout, so currently I've got this on what's called freeform, where I can just drag and drop things anywhere on the wall. But if I want to make it look more like a Twitter stream, I can select stream, and you can see that that orders the posts as they're being posted up into there. So it creates a kind of collaborative Twitter stream, if you like, that people can go and look at. Or I can set it as a grid, where it will start to just arrange things in a bit more of a kind of sensible way rather than just all over the screen. We can change privacy settings. Now this is where we might want to log in. If we want to create things, so we've got a totally public option where people can go in and it's published and searchable. We've got a hidden link, which is a bit like the unlisted option in YouTube, if anyone's used that, where basically it has a link, and anyone that has the link that can get in and see that, but it can't be searched for, so people can't just Google and it'll pop up. They need to have that URL to be able to find it. We can make it password protected, so you can define a password and send that out to people, or you can make it totally private, so there's an invite only wall, and for that you would need to be able to sign in, so you need an account to sign in and then send out emails to people with details of that to allow them to log them in. There's some notification options, which again you need to have an account for because it needs to hold your email address to be able to send out notifications, but that will send you out updates of activity on the wall. And here's our Padlet URL address here as well, the link that we would send out to people. As I mentioned earlier, we can set that to be anything we want, but to do that we need to have an account. So if you set up an account, you can log in, and then you might call it padlet.com/wall/my program title, or whatever that might be if you're using that with students, something that's more memorable for them to find. There's some options there for setting up your profile, and you can also do things like copying the wall and pasting it around. And then if you want to get rid of the wall, if you don't want it to still be available under this URL, so anyone that's got the URL can visit it, if you delete it, that will get rid of this web address and it all just disappears completely. Okay, so that's some of the options that we have there for how we can set up our wall. The final bit that I'm going to look at is how we can share this wall. So this wall currently exists as this website. So if I click on share, you'll see that I can post direct links to Facebook, to Twitter, to Google+, to a variety of social networks. So we'll push it out there as a post, and people that see that can click on the link and they'll just get straight into this, this web address and to the Padlet tool. I can also export a static version of how this wall looks at this point in time, and I can take that out as an image, as a PDF. I can also download the posts that are there as an Excel document or in a CSV file as well, which is like a stripped down spreadsheet. So a couple of ways we can put a static version of that. There's various subscription and email options that we can have, which will start to push out notifications, or we can send out emails inviting people to join this wall. So there's lots of ways we can ask people to engage with the wall, if you like. One way that you might be interested though, in terms of adding this into Blackboard, is you can actually embed the wall within Blackboard so that people can see a live version of the wall in the Blackboard site. Now, if anyone's ever embedded a Twitter feed or a YouTube feed into Blackboard, it's a very similar process where all we do is we copy this code and then we paste that into the text box in Blackboard using the HTML function. So if that sounds technical, don't worry, it's not very difficult at all. It's really just copying and pasting, but knowing where to put it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all go into Blackboard, and in my Blackboard area I have just a standard content area, and I'm going to go into build content and click on item, and this gives me, I'm sure you'll be familiar, just the option to give something a name. So I'm going to call this Padlet wall, and then if I just want to write in some text, I could write text in here. However, I'm not going to put in text, I'm going to put in a piece of code, and that piece of code is back in my Padlet wall. Now remember, we're in the Share and Export tab, and under Embed there's this code that we can then copy. Okay, so I've clicked on that, it's highlighted in blue, and I've copied it. Back in Blackboard, in the text area, now this will work within anywhere that you have this text editor, so it could be a forum post, it could be a content area, it could be a title for something. Wherever you've got this text editing tool, you have the HTML code view button. Okay, so if we click on this, it brings up a blank box, and this is where you can put text which is completely formatless. It's where, if anyone knows any HTML, you can type HTML code in and it will start to pick that up. We don't need to write the HTML code though, because we've copied it straight from Padlet. So if I paste that code and then click update, that will save the code into there. And if I scroll down and just click submit, then when Blackboard creates that new item, the Padlet wall, you'll see that now my Padlet wall, which is here, is actually appearing live within Blackboard as well. Okay, so I can get in there and I can view the different bits which are available within there. And I can actually go in and I can start to edit that wall within Blackboard as well. So if you want to get students into that environment and make it a bit easier for them to find, then putting it into Blackboard might help. We can't actually make new posts, or yes, we can actually. Sorry. So this is my new post here. So I could call this maybe Blackboard post. And I can post within there just the same options I have for the tool in the main page. And when I go back to my page here, then we can see that's there. So I'm just going to switch this back from layout to freeform, and that automatically updates from within there as well. Okay, so we can start to get in and use that. And students, as they log in, they'll be able to view this and edit that, and they'll all have an option to go in and play around and edit that. Okay, so that's Padlet. As you can see, it's a very easy tool to start using, but there's lots and lots you can do with it. Do have a go, and if you have any problems at all, give myself or a member of the digital skills team or another member of academic development a shout, and we can go through that with you. But I hope that gets you familiar with Padlet and what it can do, what it's for, and some of the basic skills that you need to get up and going with it. Okay, thank you very much.